Hello my friends and welcome back. I hope you have modified your animation to the point where you are satisfied, because now we're gonna add some textures, add some lights and make this wheel ready to render. We will be using Arnold, but you can follow along no matter what render you're using, if you use Octane or Native Cinema, because I will speak in a general language. So before we get started, you don't need to change the colors to mine. You can take whatever you want, you can take whatever texture you want as well. Great. So this is where we left off, and the first thing I want to do is that we just start to add bevels all over and make them the size we want. So let's jump in and start with the cubes here. They are way too big, so 0.2 maybe. And as you can see here, we have some weird black line here, and that's actually the Phong tag, because Cinema thinks this surface is a little bit bent. So we just need to take the Phong tag and make it a lower number here. So let's just start and make the wheel a little bit more wheelie, and we add a fillet, and we need some more subdivisions as well, or segments. 120 will do, and we can actually take away this material now as well. Good. And if we really want to go nitty-gritty, we would like to have this cylinder inside of a hole here, and that's pretty easy. If we just select the cylinder, go in here, and we take a circle, yes, and I hold down shift so it's placed under the cylinder, PSR, and scale it down, maybe 2. And then I'm gonna use something I use quite often, and inside this extrude we're gonna add what is it called? It's called spline mask. So with extrude selected, hold down shift, release, and it will place itself there, and then PSR. And then we put our ring here. Let's rename this to ring. And the cylinder we just created, let's call that hole. And then we place that here, and then we tell the spline mask to A subtract B. And now you can see something weird happen here, because we need these two to be on the same set. And the ring is located at 0 and the hole is located at 8. So put that to 0, and maybe we have to, yeah, just a little bit bigger. There you can see, now it's a hole there. And now when we're here, we can just add some bevels to this guy as well. So fillet cap, make sure to check constrain as well, and make them way smaller. Something along those lines. And we know this is gonna be stone, or I will at least have stone here, so then I can actually make it down to 1, because stones are pretty sharp, like that. Good. This one needs some bevels as well, the same procedure here. There we go. And these two are gonna be metals, so select both of them and add caps, and here we can maybe have 0.2. Yep, that looks good. And for these guys, actually I think we can make it a little bit bigger, so it's aligned here, so it's even more perfect. So they are called carbine. So take both of them, and on the set we add one more, and now you can see it interacts a little bit, so we need to change it a little bit in the set, and 0.5 will do. Now it's perfect. Nice. And some I'm inside my camera, we can go out of that. So let's add some bevels here as well. 0.2 will do. Good. And for the camera, I actually did shaded a bit, and I actually rotated the camera like this, because then we don't need to change the whole scene. We don't need to rotate it, and when we go out, we have a flat and nice work area, and then we just go in here and we have the final look. Okay, so let's see. We can make these ones a little bit bigger. Maybe 20. Yeah. Let's do 20. Minus 10. Move it down a bit. Good. And now we need to add some background. And for that we can duplicate our cloner, because we know that the cloner is perfectly looped. Then we just duplicate that. Move this one back in set. And then we just adjust our cubes here a bit. So we want them to be thin in the set and bigger in the Y. So let's take 200. And let's see here. For these ones I did some weird angle. So then we can jump into the cloner, transform, and then we find a nice angle here. Something along these lines. And we need to move it up a bit as well. Like this. And we need to make them a little bit smaller as well. We can jump in here and have a look. So it's, yeah, that looks good. And for the underneath our bridge here, let's call this bridge so we know what we're talking about. Bridge, and this one that we just created we can call BG. Underneath we're just gonna have a simple cube, because in my render that I did, I don't have any texture on this one, and then it's not so important to have them in a cloner, because the reason we have cloners is that if we do a texture on this one, we know that the texture will be exactly the same on this one, and it will also be exactly the same on our last frame, and that's important. But for this one, if we don't use any texture on it, it doesn't really matter. And now we can see that our scene is a little bit, or this one, we won't see this in the render, but it's a little bit short maybe. We will adjust that when we start put on some lights. And I think these lines are a little bit too straight. I would have them more angled, so let's do that. More like that. Minus 47. Make them smaller. Like that, and then I think we actually need to make them a little bit bigger as well. That looks better. Good. And I actually see something that can be a problem later, and I'm gonna explain it to you now. So if you look at this scene, here is where the wheel starts, and this is where he ends. And when we start to light this scene, it will have some different lighting here and here, because here there will be a lot more surfaces to bounce off and hit the back area. Here, it's only this will affect. They will only bounce light here to the back side, but here we will have all this bouncing here, so it will be a little bit light, more light in the end frame, but we will solve that, then no problem. So let's see here. Yeah, I think we're pretty. We just need to put a nice angle to it, and then we can start to put on the lights and the textures. And as we can see, it's really close here, or actually it goes outside of frame here. So there's two solutions. We can go out a bit, probably. Like this. Yeah, there we go. Now it's close to the back. But it's just a matter of tweaking a bit. Now when we change the angle, we can see that we actually need one more clone here. So just add, oops, one more. And we are safe. Yeah. I think that this is it for this lesson, and then we start to, and then we do the light and texture in the next one. So see you there.